Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, to the tutorial section. As you can see, today we are finally looking into materials, into UV maps. As you can see, I've loaded up my newest model. This is an example. So I'm not going to show you anything on this, I'm going to show you this very simply, but I need this as a reference. So we have our base model. I'm pretty sure you will build something even more impressive than this, but we want to go from this to this. We want to have colors on them, we want to have the correct colors on them, we want to have some kind of material and glow or shine or whatever to them, so it looks metallic or leather or whatever else we want. And that's what we're going to do, or that's what I'm going to show you today. We'll see how long this takes. I hope we're not hitting 20 minutes, but the more I'm talking, the more the more time flies by. So this is different parts. The body is basically the base model. Then we have all the edges as well, and as you can see, I have a lot of different materials: chain link, edges, armor, clasp metal, clasp leather. As you can see, I've got two clasps with different parts. And if I open up the armor again, you can see that they are different colors. So if we check our viewport, we can go to UV view, which gives us a plain view and some really ridiculous layout. What this is basically the whole thing that we built, in this case the bodysuit, flattened into 2D. This is the model. For example, if I mark a few faces, you can see that they are marked here, and vice versa. If I for example, if I say, okay, I want to work with these faces for some reason, they are getting marked on the model. So this is basically just a translation of the model into the 2D space. As you can see, this UV map is not very clean. Okay, so UV 2D view of the 3D object. Whenever I do something here, whenever I manipulate this, as you can see, nothing happens here. Nothing happens in the 3D space. And if, for example, I change something here, as you can see, nothing happens in the 2D space. So these are separate when working, but they are combined because both are armor. And if, for example, I choose to throw a texture on this, for example this one, as you can see, this 2D map gets translated into the 3D. And if I, for example, turn this 90 degrees, you can see that the stripes turn in 90 degrees as well. So far, so good. UV map is a flat layout of our model, and we need this to apply textures later. Okay. Please no save. Okay, let me clean this up a bit. I had my fun. Let's do this very, very, very simple. I prepared a little let me actually pull that up. I made a texture just for today, which I want to use. It is this one. Very, very simple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's going to be a cube, and we're going to do this. So step 1, we are creating a cube. By this point, I'm not going to explain how to make something. If you have questions how to make an object, I recommend tutorial number 2. Actually, it's in the end of the first, but you can watch every tutorial because I do it in most of them. So tutorial number 2 would be the best for that. Okay, we have a cube. It has 6 sides. It's a normal cube. And now we're going to this scary little UV and paint folder thing, whatever, and you'll see different projection styles. So if you have a sphere, you might want to do spherical projection. As you can see, you can manipulate this. In properties, it gives you the UV gizmo. I usually don't touch anything here. I just use the manipulator here. So, okay. I can do spherical for cubes. I can do cylindrical for cylinders, obviously. I can do planar projection, which I use for planes, or which I often use for flat objects in general. And I can use cube. Okay, so I have 6 sides. You can see that he somehow translates this base UV map background, the checkered thing, to here. Okay. If you click accept, he translated this. Okay. So what happened? Hexagon created a material for us. It's called, very adequately, material number 29. I played around a lot today with materials, don't ask, this is number 29. You can rename this, for example, you can name it cube. You can also name it whatever you want. This is a reference for you that you will need in DES later. I will show you next time. Yeah, I wouldn't touch bump because Hexagon has a tendency to crash if you try to add bump maps in here. We will do that in Hexagon as well. What we can do is we add a texture. Right now it just says color. We want to add a texture image. Especially this one. Tutorial. Okay, so what does it do? Firstly, it flips it horizontally, so we're going to flip that back. Actually, it flips it vertically, so we're going to flip it vertically. My bad. This happens a lot. So, vertical flip is the thing that for some reason Hexagon likes to do. Don't ask me why, I have no idea. Yeah, but as you can see, each side now shows us the whole texture that we just put under here, and this is absolutely not what we want. So what we're going to do is we are going to cut this up into a UV map by ourselves. The tool for that is this little hat. You will see me use this a lot in my other videos. It's called Unfold. I have this hotkey to Alt and B because I need this a lot. So if I do this, nothing happens. Now it does. So if you click on it, he goes into this select auto mode. I select edges, and then we are going to select a few edges on which we want to cut this up. Now this step asks that you as a user have a very good understanding of 3D models and can translate something like this in your mind, and you can basically unfold it. If you can't, that's not a problem. Just get a piece of paper and draw this out. It's not a problem. Okay, so I marked a few edges, the one on which I want to cut this, and now with Unfold we have a lot of stuff here going on. We can define seams or pins. We want to define seams where the object is cut up. Gap size is not interesting, and the axes are also not interesting for us. What's interesting is the plus, the minus, and the head. So right now I selected a few edges, and if I add the plus, you can see that they are now blue. That's because I just told the software that when I want to translate this into 2D, he has to cut up the object on exactly these edges. How do we unfold this? We hit the head. And here we go. Watch this a few times with and without sound. Slowly. This is something that you will have to get a feel for. That you have to just try out and see. Okay, how does this work? What do I do? Where do I cut this and where do I not? And sometimes you will just have a garbled mess in here. For example, let me redo that. Undo that. Okay, so we're going to unfold. And we're going to cut this up really weirdly. And when I press... Wait, this didn't work. Okay, let me cut this up like... I don't know, really, really weird. Okay, like this. Okay, as you can see now, I have like I have this completely cut up into triplets and whatever because I misclicked. So you can just control everything back to normal and unfold this again. Yeah, I did a few cubes today, so okay, this just happened. Apparently I misclicked somewhere. I just don't know where. Interesting. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to mark all our seams. We're going to hit the minus, so he removes them as seams, and if he unfolds, we are back at the usual thing. So, try this again. This. Okay, I missed this one. Okay. Add selection. And now we have our shape unfolded. So, in here, I usually work with any of these. It doesn't matter. You will need all of them. So I'm selecting the faces. Right now, this is more or less wrong. So I'm going to use the scale tool to just scale this the opposite direction. And now we're going into the fine-tuning. As you can see, wait, this is the wrong one. Where's the other one? There we are. So these are neat quarters, but somehow he morphed this into this abomination because the texture is always put into a rectangle, into a square mode. This is something you have to then work out manually. So what we're going to do is we're going to select points, and we're going to grab our points, and we're going to manually move them around on this UV view. Actually, okay, so you can see all the cuts and it all looks a bit weird. And now we're going to fix all this basically by hand. I mean, we have a little bit help from Hexagon here, who just helped us a lot with actually making a decent base for us to work with, and all we're going to do is fix this up so that we have a working cube. So so far so good. Okay, numbers are inverted because that's on me. What we can do is we can flip this horizontally. Grab all our dots and flip these horizontally as well. And now we should have some kind of it doesn't work as well. Well, I tried. Yeah, but anyhow, UV maps. The material is basically the name for it, so I know that this is a cube and not the banana and not the armor and not anything else but the cube. Working on the textures. I usually do in Paint, I know, or in GIMP or both. This is basically the base that I use to actually make these textures, and then I set up the UV maps. You have seen me this countless times in my other videos, and then next time I will show you how to apply these things into this, or I don't know next time, but soon. Yeah, but this is basically, this is what UV maps and textures do. Okay, this is for today. This was a lot. This is complex. Just, yeah, try, play around, fiddle with it until you find a solution or until you find a workflow that works for you. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Stay healthy, stay safe, and see you guys around.